Good morning and welcome to the 1st of February 2026. Now at the moment I'm quietly training for my next marathon. But did I ever tell you about my marathon that I ran in secret? Can't tell you. 1st of February 2026. Winter still has a grip, but spring is just round the corner. I never thought I'd get to run a marathon, but in January 2018 I did. Grant Park Lochen. It was designed as a skating and curling pond in the days when Scotland regularly had cold enough winters to freeze the ice. We have a frozen lake and a swimming pool. was a very cold January morning, and I found myself at the start line of my first ever marathon. Also happened to be in Florida. So myself and Mrs. Everyone's Got a Story to Tell were in Florida, January 2018, and I was doing my very first marathon. Ahead of me was 26.2 miles, and at the finish line, Mrs. Everyone's Got a Story to Tell was waiting for me. Now in 2018, things had moved on quite a bit. On your running bib, there was a little microchip. So if your race name and race number, people could log in and they can follow your progress. So Mrs. Everyone's Got a Story to Tell, she did one thing better. She tried to follow me for 26.2 miles using the running chip and electronically tried to figure out where I'd be. So before the race began, I was thinking, don't worry, I'll text you where I am. Maybe I can see you, give you a little wave. But in that cold January morning, my very first marathon, I had no phone signal. So Mrs. Everyone's Got a Story to Tell followed me for 26.2 miles, and I was blissfully unaware. She'd got buses to particular parts. Halfway, Animal Kingdom was told to move along. Nothing was working. Couldn't let her know how I was doing. Was I okay? Was I crying? So I got to the finish line. I'd finished my first ever marathon in Florida. But I didn't know where she was. So exhausted, got over the finish line. I was just happy to finish. I was just happy to say, I've achieved one of my bucket lists. I'm sure we've all got unique bucket lists. Could be wanting to do a skydive at 80 years old, or just go on a nice holiday with your family. This was always one of mine's. Would I run a marathon? So I did. And that was in 2018. But I still couldn't find Mrs. Everyone's Got a Story to Tell. So eventually, I managed to get a signal, and I found her in the car park just after the finish line. So I never got to see her that time. But that was my first ever marathon, 2018. Now fast forward about a year and a half, May 2019, it was just myself, and I thought, I think I'm going to do the Edinburgh Marathon. So I did. This was slightly different, as it's in the centre of Edinburgh, 26.2 miles. When I ran the Walt Disney World Marathon in 2018, I just wanted to make it to the finish line. But in Edinburgh, I had different plans. I was training well, and I thought to myself, could I run under 4 hours? Me being a very confident 51-year-old man, I didn't believe I could do it under 4 hours. I believed I could do it under 3 hours 30. But as Edinburgh is so busy, they did a park and ride system where you could book ahead, park your car at a park and ride, and a bus would come and take you to the start line. I thought that's something different. I'll do that, that's a lot safer than trying to park a car at a random part of Edinburgh. The marathon was going really well. I was on track for under 4 hours. And then I hit kilometre 35. A marathon's about 42 kilometres. So from kilometre 35 to kilometre 41, the wheels completely came off. I was walking, part sobbing, part feeling sorry for myself, thinking, come on Frank, come on, just try and start running. And I genuinely did. I genuinely tried to start running, but I couldn't. And I knew I was close to being under 4 hours, but it was slipping away. Only 42k in a marathon, and by kilometre 41 I was hobbling, trying to mechanically get going, somehow just put one foot in front of the other. And by kilometre 41 I managed to get enough strength in my legs to start running. So I ran the last kilometre and I finished it under 4 hours. Bruised and battered, I lay down on the ground, flat out, thinking somehow I made it through the Edinburgh Marathon in May 2019. And then I had a problem. I had to walk back. To the bus stop, probably about a mile away, the same as everyone else. But my phone had died. I didn't really think very much of it at the time. I thought, that's okay, I'll get to the car, I'll charge it in the car. But then I forgot one simple thing. My bus ticket was on the phone. I had downloaded the ticket onto my phone. So I didn't have a bit of paper. It was electronically on my phone. And my phone had died. So I had to ask a very kind bus driver and quietly explain to him, just finished the marathon, honestly my ticket is on my phone, but my phone's dead. What if he says no? Thankfully, just smiled, laughed and says, on you come. So thank you, bus driver. Thank you for being very kind to an old man who was just trying to run. And in 2019 was the only year that I ran 2 marathons. With my confidence high and my ego slightly battered. We went down to Bournemouth 2018, and this time I had learned my lesson from Edinburgh. When you get to kilometre 35, Frank, don't stop. So from May to October, I trained with a running pack, hydration, all different gels and little sachets and electrolytes. So it got to Bournemouth in 2019, I was ready. I was ready this time to be under 4 hours and under 3.5 hours. And there's me at the start line, hydration pack on my back, gels, water. I had planned it all. Nothing was going to go wrong this time. It was a beautiful day in Bournemouth. A beautiful day to run 26.2 miles. And I set off with a plan. 3.5 hours this time, Frank. You finished in Edinburgh under 4 hours. You achieved what you wanted to achieve. Now can you push it to 3.5 hours? A beautiful, beautiful Sunday in Bournemouth. You run along the promenade. You do 13 miles. You can finish at 13 miles as a half marathon or carry on and do the full marathon. Beautiful sunshine, lovely day. There's me taking on lots of water, lots of electrolytes, lots of sachets of drinks and little gels. And then I stopped. And I always said to myself, mechanically, Frank, if you stop, you won't get going. But this time was different. This time I was much more mentally stronger, much more prepared for it. So I thought. The finish line was along a beautiful long promenade in Bournemouth. And at 35 kilometres again, I gave up. I tried to keep going, just couldn't get myself going again. And I hobbled, I stopped, I ran, people overtook me. Tried to walk as best I possibly could, tried to jog a little bit, and it just wasn't happening. So somehow I managed to keep going. And then I sat down. I sat down on a little wall on the promenade, beach in front of me, beautiful day. And I did something quite unusual for me. I phoned Mrs. Everyone's Got a Story to Tell. During the marathon, I sat down, got my phone out and gave her a call. And she answers, "Are you okay?" "I can't do this. It's too hard. I'm done. I'm a grown-up child who's now having a massive tantrum. I just can't do it. Come and get me. I'm done." Little did I know that the finish line was about 200 yards away. And I saw her, and she can walk along. And she said to me, "The finish line's just round the corner." I was so delirious at that point that I'd almost just gave up. I can't do it. Okay, I'll keep going. So I managed to hobble hobble my way to the end of the finish line in Bournemouth. Thanks mostly to Mrs. Everyone's Got a Story to Tell. Walking along from finish line. To say frank, the finish line's just round the corner. Once I crossed the finish line, I met another runner, and we both said those running tales of, oh, it's so windy out there today. Conditions were too hot. All lies. All just runners' tales of the woe of not finishing in the time you wanted to. And that was a lovely lesson to learn. It wasn't really about the time. It was the effort, the victory lap, all the training. The time didn't really matter. But to me, it did then, but it didn't really. So I then ran a marathon in 2024 in Florida and Walt Disney World. The one that I really, really enjoyed. And I managed to see Mrs. Everyone's Got a Story to Tell at mile 21. She took a little video. I gave her a little wave, but I kept going. I thought to myself, if I stop, I won't go again. So I ran by her, gave her a little wave, felt very happy. And I really enjoyed that. That was 4 marathons, 4 medals, 4 wonderful courses, lots of spectators. But I also did a secret marathon. And that was in July 2020. That was a COVID year where everyone's at home, everyone had to stay safe. But as it came into July, you could go out. So I decided to run a marathon in Grantown-on-Spey and try and devise a plan. So I had an idea. What if I just ran 4 10Ks? Started from my house. The only spectators I had was 2 little dogs. And they waited patiently at my house. Are you done yet? No, this is just the first 10K. Second 10K comes and goes. Are you done yet? Nope. Just halfway. I ran the first loop, I ran the second loop, and then I thought to myself, I'm just going to go and start running now. So I ran the next 13 miles, just around Grantown-on-Spey, onto a railway track. And I ran a marathon in secret. No spectators, no crowd, no chip. And the curse was broken, I thought. Bournemouth had weighed very heavily on me. I'd mechanically broken down in Edinburgh about kilometre 35. And the same thing happened in Bournemouth. But my secret marathon in 2020, I was okay. So I loved that. I loved that I just ran a marathon around Grantown-on-Spey. So when it came to the marathon in January in 2024, I knew I was going to be okay. So that's all I'm doing at the moment. I'm walking just now, but I'm quietly training for another marathon. Just me, just by myself, in 11 weeks' time. I'm training because I want to. The memory and the muscle memory is still there. But it's more about the, do I want to do it? Can I do it? Can I get going again? And that's all this is about today. Just a little trip down memory lane to remember my 4 official marathons and a 1 secret one. So I'll continue training today. I'll run a little bit more. But today is Sunday, 1st of February, 2026. I've been training last week in preparation for a marathon. I'd run 5k every day. And next week, I'm going to run a little bit more. So hopefully you'll come along and join me. There'll be nothing spectacular, and hopefully at kilometre 35 I'll keep going this time. So thanks for joining me today. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed. And I'll see you again. I know I can run, but it's the starting again. I love that. So when I say I'm training for a marathon, it's not about times or medals. It's just having the courage to begin again.